And I think Ashton was one person who taught me the power of having a scalable model. You know, I think it's massively important that, yeah, done for you services are good, but done with you is where you have, number one, most leverage, most ability to scale. But number two, you're not renting a machine to your clients, but you're selling them this machine and then giving them the ability to hire you to manage it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with a friend and a client, Isaac.
So,
and
good to see you here,
Good to
fella.
see you. My hands are sweaty, but we're rocking. So today, if you guys are watching, pretty much what we're going to be talking about, we're pretty much going to have a conversation. Isaac works with a lot of fitness coaches as well. He's got a very unique scope in terms of how to scale online as a fitness coach or a creator online. And we're pretty much just going to have a simple discussion about a few different topics within the fitness niche, within marketing as a whole, and kind of see where this goes. So yeah, it's good to have the chat. We're also in Budapest right now.
Yes, sir.
He's from London. I'm from Canada. So it's funny how we both connected in the east of the Iron Curtain, you must say. So yeah. So why don't you give, like, I guess a basic rundown of kind of what you do, how you do it, all that sort of stuff.
I think that's a good start, a good place to start. I mean, my name's Isaac from London, 20 years old now, and I run now I want to call it a sales and marketing consultancy firm for fitness coaches. Was a growth operator, and I think Ashton was one person who taught me the power of having a scalable model. You know, I think it's massively important that, yeah, done for you services are good, but done with you is where you have, number one, most leverage, most ability to scale. But number two, you're not renting a machine to your clients, but you're selling them this machine and then giving them the ability to hire you to manage it. Right. And so I essentially help online fitness coaches and health coaches scale their businesses, and I enjoy it. You know, I'm in this fitness space. I enjoy fitness myself. So it's a great thing.
Yeah. So Isaac reached out to me. Why don't you, I guess, tell the viewers how you found me, all that sort of stuff, because I want to talk about YouTube and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. And so I think one thing Ashton will definitely speak about is the power of YouTube. And YouTube, for me, I always knew it was powerful. At the end of the day, a 10-minute, 15-minute YouTube video is essentially a sales call, a mini sales call, because you get to understand how the person operates, how they speak, how they articulate, if they're an expert in their field, if they're an authority, right? But I was looking for help on how to run ads for fitness coaches specifically, came across one of Ashton's videos, and he clearly knew exactly what he was talking about. I told him the same day I binge watched like 4 hours of his content, just going through everything, understanding his process, and from there I knew he was someone I needed to have in my life, whether that's as a mentor or just learning exactly how he does it for his clients. You know, so reached out to him on Instagram, and now we're here, you know.
And then we're here. So in terms of YouTube, I know I asked you this an hour ago, but now we're recording. So what was the key biggest things that were like, okay, 1, 2, 3, or maybe even one thing or two things, or et cetera, that propelled you to want to reach out and actually take action and kind of talk to me specifically?
I think in terms of Ashton's unique insights and what I had never really heard from other people who speak about scaling fitness coaches or scaling coaches is, number one, stopping organic content. And this doesn't mean not posting it in totality, but
yeah, of course,
you need to make or focus on a more scalable model, which is paid ads and which is YouTube, because of the fact that it's evergreen, right? With YouTube, it's a search engine at the end of the day. So if you post a video 2 years ago, someone can watch it today based on the fact that they're looking for help in this specific realm, right? Number one. Number two, the aspect of paid ads is something that was not alien to me, but it's something I hadn't mastered, and I was really trying to understand how to run ads for fitness coaches. And you had a clear grasp on exactly what to do, exactly how to do it, whether it's retargeting ads, lookalike ads, like everything. And so those two key insights for me were massive. But then on top of that, like I said this to you earlier, like an hour ago, and it was a case where Ashton's YouTube videos were really good in terms of the value he gave, but it wasn't just value drops. It was shifting the way I thought, but also dangling this carrot in front of me where I knew, okay, cool. I know this guy knows the full source, but I need his help. Like, I've got a couple pieces, but I need the entire puzzle, you know? And so that's,
see, this is the thing. This is something that's very interesting. From your point of view, you see it as I'm dangling the carrot in front of you.
Yeah.
And oh my God, there's more value. But from my point of view, when I'm making my videos, I'm giving as much value as I can. So, and I'm not thinking, oh, how can I limit the amount of value I give so that they're gonna be curious about how much better or more extensive my actual program is.
Yeah.
So I get this question actually all the time. oh, in my Skool community, or oh, is there a limit of how much value I should put in it, or should I cap it, or should I do like this much and then leave a little bit more for my paid? It's like, no, you got to just give the full amount of value, because if you give the full amount of value, it's very subjective, because carrot, I don't think the exact same way, right? I'm just giving the actual amount of value. So, okay, so you discovered me through YouTube. Pretty much we've been working together for like, it's been like what, a month?
Coming up to a month.
A month now, and yeah. So he pretty much works with fitness coaches. I work with fitness coaches. Usually, people who reach out to me are fitness coaches. Funnily enough, but specific scenario of someone who works with fitness coaches. So I guess it's more of a hands-on, a little bit of a different process. But yeah. So let's talk about, I guess, your specific mechanism that you use, or I guess are now using, in terms of scaling fitness coaches with your clients and stuff. So why don't you give us like an overview of your clients, and I guess specifically the methods you use as of now?
So I have 4 clients specifically, 3 primarily fitness coaches, 1 tennis fitness coach. And the fact is, I always like to focus on people who aren't just like get jacked. Like, I think that's good, but I think to really charge the big bucks, as you could say, you need to have more than just getting in shape. It needs to focus on longevity of life. It needs to focus on mindset. It needs to have some aspects where they meet people who are similar to them. For example, one of my clients helps like career-driven men. One of my clients helps traveling guys who are businessmen. Maybe they're going on business dinners and things of that nature. You know, and so number one, I do think with my client's service delivery, I like to dial it in so they don't just have a transformation on the fitness side of things, but they also have a transformation with like their actual knowledge, and they're educated about how to master their health, you know? And so in terms of acquisition, now because of Ashton's help, I'm able to run ads for them. And that's something that I didn't have a clear vision as to what I should exactly be doing, and I'll have way more clarity on that. We of course do short form organic content. And for one of my clients, we really push it. Like we do at least like 10 to 14 posts per week, and that does well. But with that, of course, that's the traffic funnels and using YouTube now as well. But mainly with conversion, it's a case where we use DM setters, but also dialers to just convert that. And we've been running the free Skool funnel now. And that honestly rips, just because the amount of value they gain in that is insane. One guy literally messaged my client, and he was like, how is this free? Like, why is this free? Like, do I have to pay something at any point in time? And this guy closed for like a 7K PIF, you know? So it's just the amount you nurture them. Once they come into the sales call, it's just a no-brainer.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. So right now you're implementing the Skool funnel that I talk about a lot. And before that, what did you do?
Before that, it was just a call booking, like a VSL funnel. And I think those are like a foundation. Like you need to have some sort of VSL.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a bit rinsed and overdone when in your short form content, you're pushing, comment the word this for my free training. It's like with the fitness space specifically, everyone has all the knowledge they need. You can go on YouTube and find any piece of information you need. So it's just a case where selling one free training isn't that much of a like enticing deal. But telling someone you can join my community where you not only have all the knowledge assets and like templates and on-the-go guides and things, but you also meet people similar, it's kind of a no-brainer. That's a stronger offer. You know,
No, exactly. It's like everyone right now as a fitness coach is running like specifically, VSL or strictly just like book a call funnel. And I feel like even in the DMs, like if you get, I'm sure you get sometimes people who reach out to you in the DMs or even for your clients. When you say, hey, here's my Calendly link, book a call, I feel like everyone is like opposed to it in some way. They get like so, especially in the DMs, I got people who reach out to me all the time. Hey, Ashton, I want to work with you. What are the details? I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? We have a little, we literally go back and forth for a bit. And I'm like, sounds good, man. Let's jump on a call, shoot them my Calendly link. Bye-bye.
It's crazy, bro.
Right? So you like, and obviously that doesn't happen all the time, of course. Maybe like one of every 7 people, for example. But it still does happen. People are still like right now are, book a call. I'm scared, right? So Skool is very good with that. Skool is, I think right now, Skool over the next 5 years, Sam Ovens is a genius. Alex Ramosi is a genius.
For sure.
You have 2 genius people who are working on a project that over the next 5 years could be a multiple billion dollar, company, for example.
100%.
And even one of my mentors, if he's watching this, I don't work with him anymore. He shut down his agency to go all in on like physics, and he's like this math physics guy. He's crazy smart.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
His name's Neil. If you're watching this, Neil, you're a great guy. But pretty much Neil told me, he says, over the next 5 years, AI is going to take over. Kind of like it's inevitable at this point.
Sure.
And the only thing that AI cannot take over is human to human connection.
100%.
Right? So if there's a platform, even like SMMA, like running ads, I'm just going to run your Facebook ads. We even see things like UpHex that are coming out, which are AI-driven ad bots, right? That are doing quite good actually. And even look at Meta, for example.
Yeah.
You don't need to do targeting anymore. You just put a fucking ad, and then it just takes care of it,
That's
right?
powerful.
Same with YouTube. Their AI is worth billions of dollars. Think about how much feedback they're getting from people scrolling, what they like, how they like it, all that sort of stuff. So the only thing AI cannot take over, period, over the next million years is human-to-human connection. Maybe you could talk about some other things like bots, like sex bots, for example, that maybe they can take over. But baseline, Skool is, over the next 5 years, is going to be one of these things that if you start now and you start building, and even within Skool, I don't know if you've looked at some of the other guys in the Skool games.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Yeah, no, but if you look at some of the guys on how they won the Skool games, I was listening to this one guy, he had this testimonial, and he was saying he got all of his clients from Skool. He didn't have an Instagram that he was pushing clients to. He didn't have a YouTube.
Insane.
He wasn't doing any of that shit. He was getting clients from the origin of Skool, right? So right now, yeah, it's kind of like, you could say it's still early. Some people are like, oh, Skool, everyone says, oh, Skool is late. Oh, I know what Skool is. Oh, it's just Skool. But actually, if you get on it and you actually start building and you're actually, 100% with it, it's going to take over, right?
And so, Ashton, I do want to ask you a question. You
Yes.
kind of touched on AI a bit. How do you integrate AI within your business or for your clients to, whether it's alleviate pain or bring in more clients? Like, how do you integrate it on a day-to-day basis?
I don't use AI right now.
Seriously?
I don't use AI.
I'm very surprised because I
Zero.
feel like you're tapped in, but the question is, why don't you use AI?
I don't use AI because I don't feel like I need it, and I don't feel like, in terms of the day-to-day operations of bringing my clients success, it's not as proficient as having an actual employee, right? So I have my main employee who, me and him pretty much, it's just me and him. I also have a separate copywriter and editor who does copywriting/editing for me.
Nice.
So it's pretty much just 3 of us, but you know who Kale is. Kale, if you're
Yeah.
watching this.
Kale's a G.
Kale's a G.
He's a goat.
But in order to have an AI that I can rely on as much as an employee like Kale, it's maybe in the next 4 or 5 years, potentially. But as of right now, I don't think so. Right?
You know what it is? I understand that massively. I would say, for example, let's say we're talking about school.
Yeah.
In your process, you have a breakdown, like a doc and a loom, breaking down exactly how to build out your school the correct way and how you should give out all your source and how you should write long form VSLs. There's like a AI tool, and I was showing Daniel this earlier, called Gamma.ai.
Gamma.
Yeah, and what that does is it essentially makes you incredible slides. You basically were like, oh, use slides and then talk over the slides and give your source. What Gamma does is you can either give it a doc as like a prompt, or you can give it an exact prompt, say like, make a slide, 20-page slide about Jesus Christ, and give this amount of information and do this, and it writes the slides for you in 1 minute. And for me, if you're making school modules, that is the most accelerated process. Like a lot of my clients, I took their knowledge and then I took the slide we're trying to make, put that in, and then they speak on that slide. It accelerates it massively. And so I don't think right now AI can replace employees specifically. But
Of course.
I do think it can accelerate your progress and make your job a lot easier.
Of course. I agree. But even on the other hand, to play devil's advocate here, I have clients who use AI like ChatGPT or whatever to write all of their content, and it just doesn't come across as actually. It doesn't attract buyers.
That's
okay,
true.
because, and even what I told you on our last call as well, when you're making content, you have to focus the content or the that specific YouTube video, or if it's an Instagram reel or short or whatever, it has to be built off of a unique insight.
Yes.
There's this guy who he runs a VC capital, like a venture capitalist fund in California, and I talk about this in my videos as well. One of the biggest things that he talks about is in predicting a company's success is how many unique insights does this company have, and are they that different? Are they that unique?
Yeah.
And if you're going and you're like, oh, I'm just going to push volume into social media and just AI, AI's not creative yet. Soon, maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, ChatGPT, make me some creative, unique insights. Like, that's not out yet.
Yeah.
Right? So, like...
That's true. That's
right?
very true.
So, it's like, you can push content and keep doing that with, like, you know, just, like, slam content forever with, like, uncreative insights. Oh, here's how to lose weight. Use MyFitnessPal. Everyone knows how to use MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
That's not going to attract buyers. You need unique insights, right? And, yeah. And even with Skool, do you want to hear this crazy thing with Skool?
Go ahead.
Guess how, let's say on a free Skool community or even a paid Skool community, what the percentage of people actually go through all of the modules?
Very low percentage.
Okay, let's say on a paid course.
Paid course.
Like let's say, for example, like Iman Gadzi, $1,000 agency navigator sort of course. Guess.
I want to say like 37%.
It's 1%.
No. No, but a paid course. I don't know if paid course.
Paid.
Why?
1%.
Why do you think?
1%. I don't know exactly why specifically, but that's just the stat. That's the statistic, right? And even for me, I've bought courses that have been thousands of dollars before, and I haven't gone through all of them either.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm part of the 99%.
Makes sense.
Right? So this is another thing that I talk about on my YouTube as well, but you need to productize and build a service into an asset, pretty much just turn it into an asset that you can just sell to the person and give them kind of like Serge Guattari build and release style offer.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing a lot with my fitness coaching clients, just giving them a fucking, here's everything, here's a product, instead of like, okay, here's how to, step 1, step 2, video.
Yeah.
No one wants that, right?
Okay, so you're saying there's a difference between giving these videos that are more like babyish, like step 1, step 2, step 3, and then giving them productivized knowledge that will actually move the needle.
Exactly. Like, it's the same thesis of renting a house versus buying a house. And right now, education, even with AI, education is going to be worth nothing. And we can even see that with college right now, right? There's even YouTube, for example. There's information everywhere.
Yeah.
So the days of selling information and education are no longer there, and over the next couple of years are going to be completely obsolete. So the way we're hedging against that is just by productizing and giving an asset instead, right?
Okay.
And then you use education as free,
Yeah.
right?
Then what would you say is the difference between an asset and knowledge?
An asset is something that gets someone results
Okay.
for exactly your offer.
But knowledge is just general knowledge.
Knowledge can still get someone results, but the threshold of actually someone going through the process and watching videos and then implementing it themselves, that is, I believe, is going to become more obsolete over time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And if you were speaking about, for example, clients that have joined your program, what would you say are needle-moving things you put inside your program to ensure they get results in comparison to them just like watching a couple modules and being like, oh, it doesn't work?
Making it, so the thing is, I have to make it unreasonable for them not to see results through the amount of specific volume we're doing within a leverage system, for example. So like, for example, if you post specifically on YouTube for the next 100 days, and you post 3 times a week, and each video you make is a very good, thorough video focused on unique insights that are very well thought out. Over the next 100 days, I can guarantee, I could literally shake your hand right now, and it would be unreasonable for you not to have made, hypothetically, 100K.
What we're going to do is, I haven't started posting heavy on YouTube yet.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I posted like 4 or 5 videos. I told you I'm also, based on Ashton's advice, gonna go hard on YouTube.
Yeah.
For the next 100 days, I'm gonna go. You said three videos a week.
I was just using that as like, obviously like a comparison, for example.
Yeah. But what I want to do is, so we can come back on this. I'm gonna shake your hand and I'm gonna do this.
Okay.
I'm gonna take your advice, and then we're gonna see. Because I agree with you. I think YouTube is incredible. But now I'm shaking your hand on camera, so that is accountability. So I actually, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm doing it. Because no, I've watched the fact that you have such a catalog of videos. It's not easy. Like YouTube videos are one thing where it's not like a reel, bro. I think I can make a reel in like 1 second.
Yeah, I don't even need a script.
It's not difficult. You don't need a script. But YouTube videos are like well thought out processes, and you can't just give like fluff. You have to give real source, you know?
Of course. I have clients who, as well, I've told like 6 months ago, I'm like, hey, get on YouTube, start posting. And they start posting on YouTube, but their videos are just shit. And then, you know, they have subscribers, they have views, they have clicks. Oh, my click-through rate is good, but I'm not making any money from YouTube. Like I have clients who literally, I've told to get on YouTube, I've given them my entire asset base of how to do YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're just still posting garbage, but their statistics look good on paper, right? So if you can actually stick to making good videos and iterating on every video, then you will see success. There's do you know who Jack Hopkins is?
That's
the fitness
guy. Jack
you know
Hopkins
him?
is my guy. Like as in, not like know him personally, but there was a time before I went to Bangkok. Anyways, he's from Bangkok, and I'm a bit annoyed I wasn't able to meet him out there. But before I went, I was religiously watching his videos. Bro.
Yeah. Like I watched this video of, he's the one who actually got me on YouTube in the first place. And his strategy that I watched when I started YouTube like a year and a half ago is he posted 1 time a day on YouTube, and he held that consistency for 1 year straight. Incredible. So he set a 1 year challenge pretty much. He had some connections with Hamza and stuff. So he obviously built a following a little bit quicker. But he said 1 a day, and then every video you just make 1 small iteration. If it's in the thumbnail, if it's in your scripting, if it's a little bit better, if it's in some specific thing that you can improve on. And I pretty much follow the same strategy in my videos. You can even go back on my YouTube to my original videos. They're horrible, right? But I was like, okay, people want education. People want my Google Doc Loom videos that are super boring, right? Not this fucking flashy thumbnail sort of thing, right? Genuinely. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay. And so Ashton, you've been in the game for maybe 3 years now. 4 years, 3 years?
Roughly, yeah.
What would you say is the most needle-moving thing you did to get to the position you are in right now?
The most needle-moving thing that I did, like in terms of generating myself more cash?
Yeah, let's say that.
Honestly, the most needle-moving thing that I did was actually get my clients results.
I like that.
Not like an acquisition system. Like YouTube, ads, you could say that, but those are all tertiary to client results.
Okay.
Right? Because at the end of the day, like no marketing system can beat shitty results. Right?
That's true.
And
Very
even
true.
guys like Iman Ghazi as well, he doesn't really get like, he's pushing so much volume. So like maybe out of 1,000 people, maybe 2% of them will get results. Okay. So then he can still funnel those case studies. But a lot of guys don't get results, and you can't market with bad results, and you need that because that beats any acquisition system.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And then now, to get your clients results, and by the way, when we say get them results, it means the fitness coaches you're working with, right? Getting them results. What would you say are the most important things you do on a weekly basis to ensure they get results?
Okay, so results are very subjective. If you, for example, hypothetically, if I said, here, Isaac, here's a watch, okay? Take this watch, or no, I'm fucking this analogy up, okay? Let's say you have a car, okay? You come to me with your car, you're like, hey, my car is $10,000, okay? Sorry, I'm actually blanking right now. What I'm trying to say is, if you surpass the expectations of someone, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay? it doesn't matter at all. If you say to someone, hey, I'm going to get you $10,000 a month extra in MRR and you get them $9,000, they're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
But if you get them from 0 to 15,000, that doesn't matter at all. So you literally have to hit, people say, oh, I'm going to surpass their expectations. That doesn't matter. You have to hit the expectation exactly.
But why though? Because I definitely think setting a reasonable expectation and delivering on that expectation is very important. But why can't you surpass it?
Yeah, I mean, you can surpass it,
Yeah.
but in terms of their satisfaction,
It doesn't go.
Yeah.
So it's all about the expectation you set.
It's all about the expectation you set. 100%.
Under promise, over deliver. Or under promise and just deliver.
You just tell them. You don't have to do under promise or over promise. You can just say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. If you follow the steps, you will get this result. Okay? But you have to go through the process and you have to be disciplined. You have to be, willing to execute. You got to ask questions. You got to be a good person.
Okay.
Right?
And I want to touch on one unique thing that you did, which is not the most unique thing in the world, but I think you did it very well. Your onboarding process. How important is it to frame your client when they join your process? For example, one thing you did, you were like, Discord communication is paramount. Just because Kale is in my Discord and Kale can help you out with this. Or you said, make sure you're on time to calls. Or you said, go through this first before you book in another call. How important is that for your clients actually getting results?
Like simply the logical expectations of what to do?
Yeah, the expectations you set.
So everyone, when they start working with someone, even you, I think I told you this on one of our calls, everyone sets logical expectations, like what you just said of, here's how to contact me, here's what to do, here's how to do it, here are the steps, blah, blah, blah. That stuff doesn't matter in comparison to emotional expectations. 100%. Okay. So if I tell you, hey, Isaac, we're going to go on a run. It's going to be a 10K run. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to hate it. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. You're going to feel like throwing up. You're going to feel like stopping. You're going to want to kill yourself. Okay? And then we go for a run and you feel those feelings. You're going to be like, okay, this is expected.
You expected it.
You're expecting it.
You expected it.
Right? Yeah. But if I'm like, oh, it's going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be so easy. You're going to feel those emotions and you're going to be like, oh my God, Ashton, what the fuck? Right? So logical expectations, this is what we're going to do. Oh, here's the results you're going to get. You have to frame your process as being the hardest thing, like something that's extremely difficult to do, but there's a chance that they can get results if they actually follow your process. Does that make sense?
No, that makes full sense,
Yeah. So you have to frame it as, hey, listen, if you're willing to do the process, if you're willing to be disciplined, and then you can even tell them this on a sales call, even for you listening, like for sales as well. Everyone's like, oh, my process is so amazing. My process is incredible. Oh my God, you're going to get this result. I don't frame it as that. I say, hey, listen, you can get those results, yes, but here's a load of negatives. And you're going to have to go through you're going to have to be disciplined. You're going to have to ask a lot of questions. You're going to have to be a good client. And you're going to have to feel some pain in order to feel some growth.
For sure. That makes sense.
Right?
And now if we go on to sales, because I know that's something that you're very good at and it's something that you hold a lot of importance to, what would you say is the most important, I don't know if I want to say philosophy behind sales, but how to sell well or the correct way?
How to sell well or the correct way?
Yeah.
I think sales is a very low leverage skill.
Low leverage in what way?
Low leverage. Because think about this. Look at Steve Jobs. Look at Jeff Bezos. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Do you think these guys know sales? Of course they know sales. But do you think Jeff Bezos is running a VSL funnel to a book a call page and then hard closing or doing Jeremy Minor?
His product is just incredible.
Yeah, his branding is on point.
Yeah.
Same with Mark Zuckerberg. Same with Steve Jobs. Right? Rest in peace. Right? But sales is very low leverage. But this is the caveat. When you start out, you have no leverage. Precisely. You have no status. No one knows who you are. No one cares. So the only way to get around that is through learning sales. So at the start, yes, you have to learn sales because you're not going to just like, I guess you could, make sales assets and stuff, but you need to learn how to do direct sales at the start. Yeah.
So it's massively important at the start, but then what is the most high leverage thing later down the line?
The most high leverage thing later down the line is educating assets and client results. Yeah, because your client results are in direct proportion to how much you make.
That's interesting. And so then, Ashton, what's your vision for the next coming year? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to smash in?
Vision is to escape Canada.
Escape is an interesting word. Why
Escape
escape?
Canada. Canada is a little bit socialist.
Yeah.
The taxes are very high there. If you make over $250K a year, you're bracketed in a 52% income tax. It's fucking brutal. So that's step one. I'm looking at.
By the way, that's corporation tax as well.
No, corporate tax is 10%. That's personal income tax.
So yeah, you paying yourself through your business is
Exactly. If I pay myself out, yes. So that's step one, and then step two is just continuously get client results and continuously scale. The vision is to get to 6-figure months. Yeah,
That's incredible.
Multiple 6-figure months. Yeah. What about you?
For me, I mean, for sure, I'm launching this scalable model, this build and release model next month. So ensuring that goes well. And I think when we first spoke together, I said the goal is 100K a month. I don't want to say that's everyone's goal, but I think that's an incredible goal. You get there, you have a 7-figure run rate and you're doing good, you know. I think that's great. I think I'm moving out of the UK to Bali in January, February. So that I'm going to set it as a goal because that's an important thing to do for me. I believe that the UK is a nice place, but like, bro, like, you know, I don't think it doesn't make sense, you know. So probably next year, maybe travel to, I'll be probably like 5-10 more countries, you know, see the world and stuff. And yeah, like I think an end term goal, like retire my parents, you know.
Yeah, that's the goal?
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Because I think having nice cars and all the fancy stuff is cool, but I think what truly makes people happy, if you're not a selfish individual, is making other people happy in some way, right? Like for you said getting your clients results, that's making them happy, which makes you happy because you provided some value and of course you got paid for it, but at the end of the day, you just made them more happy, right? You know, so I think that's important, man.
I see. So move to Bali, and what was your when you say retire your parents? Where does your background come from? Like, did you grow up wealthy? Did you grow up poor? What is that like?
That's a good question. I mean, my parents. I'm Nigerian from like heritage blood. My parents moved to the UK. I think the funny thing is my dad was born in the UK, but his dad died when he was like 5. Then he had to move back to Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah, and he moved back to the UK after my brother was born. My brother's 1 year older than me. And so I was born in the UK, right? But never grew up in any way, shape or form rich. Like, I remember like, bro, up until like I was probably 14, 15, I was in a bedroom with like me, my sibling and my like younger sister. So it was just cooked. And still now they're not wealthy in any way, shape or form. So I feel like it's my mission to, you know, retire them and stuff, and I think that's a driving factor as well. I think it's important, you know.
I see.
It's massively important.
I see. Yeah. Okay, so when you grew up, when you say you were like not super privileged, what does that specifically mean? Like, were you middle class or were you like lower class?
I think I would say lower class.
Lower
definitely.
class?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My mom's a nurse. My dad's a security guard, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're not wealthy at all. But I do think if I was upper class or like in a good position, I don't think I'd be the person I am today, which is what I'm grateful for.
Exactly.
Also, it's a cooler story. Like when you make it to the top, you're like, oh, I came from nothing. You know,
of course,
like, it's incredible. So
there's this thesis that me and my friend have been kind of playing around with, and I know Andrew Tate talks about this as well. But if you grew up in a lower class environment, you're motivated to get to the top because you have nothing to lose, pretty much.
For sure.
If you're in the middle class, you're like, oh, I've already kind of gotten a taste of what it is. I know what it's like. I'm not super motivated, but I can't get everything. You're kind of like stuck between rising and falling sort of thing. But if you're upper class, you're used to getting what you want.
You have a lot to lose.
No. But this is the thing. You have a lot to lose, but you don't have a lot to lose. Because you have so much, you're not going to lose it all, in a sense. And you're used to getting things. So like, let's say hypothetically, you grew up, you got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you move out and start your own business. Yeah. Now you have nothing, hypothetically.
You need to get back to...
You're going to be psychologically, internally fucking pissed and disgusted with your environment.
100%.
You're going to be... And that's the exact same thing as being lower class.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same motivation, right? So if you're in the middle, you're screwed, but upper and lower have that same kind of correlation with each other in terms of motivation and drive.
And so
Right?
it comes down to essentially your hygiene standards to an extent, especially for the upper class, just because your hygiene standard is getting everything you want. You're thrown in the deep end and you don't get everything you want. You're not even trying to get to the highest heights. You're trying to get back to where you started, in a sense, right? But then when you're at the lowest low, you have nothing to lose in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So,
If you look at a bell curve, for example, the two extreme tail ends of the bell curve will always resemble each other more than the middle, right? So think about this, for example. Who's always getting in trouble with the law? The upper class and the lower class, right?
Tate said this. I remember this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Who gets the most amount of women? Right? The lower class and the upper class. If you're in the middle, how are you gonna sustain a woman? Oh, I'm gonna go to my 9 to 5. I'm gonna make my 100K a year sort of thing.
Precisely.
Right? When you're bowling, for example, you have all the time on your hands. You can go to expensive dinners. You can wine and dine her. You don't need to fucking sit at a desk all day.
But when you're poor, you also have a lot of time on your hands.
You have a ton of time on your hands, and you have the same amount of freedom you have if you're rich. Because think about this. Everyone's like, oh, I ask people, even on sales calls, oh, why do you want to make money? And even Ty Lopez asked me this when I was on my one-on-one with him. Ashton, why do you want to make money? I'm like, well, I want freedom. He's like, well, why do you want freedom? Do you know who has the most freedom? Homeless people. Think about it.
No responsibility.
No responsibility. They go live under a bridge. They go fucking smoke with their friends. They walk around the streets.
Genuinely.
They don't have, and they're not even in the legal system pretty much. Maybe they've been to jail a couple times or whatever. Right? They're not worried about taxes. They're not worried about paying their mortgage. Oh, I'm gonna worry. No.
So what is freedom? What really is freedom?
Yeah.
What would you say freedom is? What's freedom for you, in fact?
Freedom is being able to do what you want, when you want, sort of thing, right? Or how you want, where you want, with whom you want, right? Like, look at this. What is it? A Tuesday afternoon right now?
Yeah, true.
It's a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, it's or Wednesday.
Or Wednesday after.
Yeah.
See, exactly.
It doesn't matter. I want to point on something. I think Andrew Tate said this, and it was like, weekends are for brokies. Because when you're rich, the weekday and the weekend doesn't actually exist. Like, you do what you want, in a sense. But it's like only the people who work a 9 to 5 who are going to be like, oh, the weekend's coming up, Friday's coming up, can't wait till Friday. And then they have the Saturday and the Sunday where they have freedom. And I read a book called The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco.
Heard of it.
And he spoke about how the 9 to 5 is arguably the worst trade-off ever. You're trading 5 apples for 2 apples. 5 days of work for 2 days of freedom. Every single week.
Yeah.
Like, that's treacherous. And then maybe you get like a holiday once a year. It's just like, it's so depressing, number one.
Yeah.
But number 2, it's just a case where there is like a light at the end of the tunnel, like scaling up the company. But number 1, the company don't actually care about you. You're replaceable. But number 2, it's just a case where you get to the top, and I don't think it's worth it, if you get what I'm saying. But
have you seen those things on Instagram where it's like, I saw that there was this guy that worked at like 7-Eleven for like 30 years.
Oh, and they gave him
like a bonus of like $6,000.
Bro,
and he was like 70 years old or some shit like that.
There's the guys who work at KFC or something, and they gave him like an email. Thank you for your 70 years of service. And I'm like, that's depressing. Bro.
Crazy.
You know?
It's fucking
like,
crazy.
You're just building someone else's machine or dream when you can just, of course, take the risk, right? But build your own thing.
But what is the risk even? You know what I mean?
Uncertainty. And I don't think that's the worst risk in the world, because there's uncertainty with having a job as well.
Of course.
COVID showed.
Of course. There's tons of uncertainty. Right? Yeah, the biggest risk is like, it sounds cliche, but not taking any risk at all.
Precisely.
Right?
You know?
100%. Right? You need to, it's like, and even like, I know you're religious as well, but it's like, the more risk you take, I feel like God kind of like gives you a little bit of a helping hand.
Ability.
You know what I mean?
Like, I saw something recently, and it was like, you shouldn't be praying for things. Like, I pray for $1 million, I pray for this. Just pray to God for the ability to do the thing.
Exactly.
You know?
Like King Solomon, for example,
God asked him.
You know this example, of course. Yeah. King Solomon, right? He asked for wisdom.
Wisdom,
right?
bro.
And what did that bring? Riches, right? So
bro, that's it. That's literally it. Because at the end of the day, he could have got the riches. But I say this in sales calls. Like, when I close for one of my clients, and like, we would mainly say this. We would go, look, if you gave a homeless person $1 million, within 3, 5, maybe 10 years, they're probably going to lose that amount of money. But the question is why? Why would they lose that amount of money? And it's because they didn't become the person who retains or multiplies $1 million. They're still homeless. You just chucked money at them, right?
Exactly.
They didn't have the mental and internal transformation. Their subconscious mind is still the same. So therefore, if God asked you, what do you want? You don't want the money, because if you get the money, you're probably going to lose it. You're not going to, your life is not going to change because you're just going to have money. But if you gain the wisdom to have the money, you can replicate it, right? And even on the plane to Budapest, I was reading Outwitting the Devil.
Oh, great book.
Incredible book.
Yeah, I read that a while ago.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
And it's because I went to Russell Brunson's conference 2 weeks ago, and I was like to him, well, give me the best book. He was like, Outwitting the Devil. But especially the audio book, because you can hear the voices of the devil and Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
And it was speaking about the fact that, look, simply put, the devil utilizes quick riches as a way to downfall man. People who gain the riches quickly, for example, you see a lot of NBA players, NFL players, they gain it quick. Oh my gosh, whoa. And then they 30, 35 and they haven't saved any money, or they haven't invested anything. They don't have any business, and they get injured or they retire and they just have nothing. And they're like, damn, I earn millions of dollars and have nothing to show. I think it's the saddest thing in the world, right? But it's essential to have the discipline to gain that amount of money, because then you know how to actually manage it.
Exactly. It's like the goose and the golden egg. Do you know that?
Yeah, I've actually.
Yeah.
That was in your process.
It's in that book right there, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's my favorite business book of all time. Swear to God.
I've read half of that book.
If you can read the whole book, it's fucking incredible.
Wow.
But yeah, the story pretty much is, one time there was a farmer, right? Just for people who are watching.
Bro, you gave me this video to watch in your process about the goose and the golden egg.
Yeah. Exactly. Same process, right? So there was a farmer. He had a goose that laid a golden egg every day. And then he's like, instead of just taking this golden egg and going and selling it every day, I'm going to kill the goose and get the golden eggs that are inside. He killed the goose, and there were no golden eggs inside, and he killed the only productive asset that he had.
Precisely.
Right? So same thing applies. You need a productive asset. The productive asset is worth more than the output of the asset. Elon Musk posted this thing on Twitter about 6 months ago that I saw. It was actually a meme, right? And this guy, he asked for, in the meme pretty much, he went to this, it was in this mythical environment. He went to the witch, and the witch is like, what do you want? I will grant you one wish, right? And he asked the witch for not $1 million, but a machine to make $1 million. It was in the meme, it was, I can show you it later, it was this sowing plant thing, sort of sowing thing that sows seeds, for example, to make plants to then sell, right? So we have access, and we have the mechanisms, and we have the knowledge through social media, through everything right now. So, and we're still focused so much heavily on the output, right? So if we can, and this is one thing that I've been struggling a lot with, and I really, when I was starting out, I focused so heavily on the machine, but the output doesn't matter in a sense. The machine matters 1,000 times more.
That's incredible.
Right? 1,000 times more. Right?
Okay, and I want to ask you, how do you stay ahead of the curve? In fact, before I ask you how you stay ahead of the curve and maybe the things you consume, courses, books, whatever, what does a day-to-day with Ashton look like?
A day-to-day?
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of I hate to say it, I'm kind of anti-discipline. I'm anti-discipline.
Why is that?
So I think people use discipline, and I used to be the most disciplined person ever. I used to wake up 5 a.m., gym, sit down and literally work for 14 hours straight.
Crazy.
But what was I getting from that? I was still capped at 10K a month, right? So people use discipline as kind of an excuse to feel okay about their city situation, right? So day-to-day life, I get up when I kind of want to get up. I don't have a fucking alarm clock. I go on my phone immediately. Immediately go on my phone. I get the because I put my phone in airplane mode in the night, so I get the
dopamine. It's crazy,
right? So then I check my messages. I check all the client shit, the Discord. I answer questions maybe for 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe I'll go to the gym. maybe I'll do like some work if I want to do some work. Usually I go to the gym, and then maybe I'll come back, maybe do like a couple hours of work, maybe like 3 hours of work maybe. But I don't work exceptionally hard, and I'm not exceptionally disciplined, but I have the right to be. Not because of the output, I'm making this amount of money, because of the system, because of the leverage I have within the system, right?
Okay, what leverage do you have in the system?
So the leverage I have within the system is the ability to only work, for example, 3 hours a day and make 50K a month.
Incredible.
Right? So, and I know that is a fact. Okay, I can do this amount of work. I can do this. I'm within a leverage system.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's the same thing. Do you know who Mike Menser is?
I've heard of the name. Isn't that the jacked guy?
Yeah, he's a jacked guy. But pretty much he said, like, back in the 90s, 80s, everyone was working out for like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, in order to get jacked, you just got to do more input. You just got to train more volume. And it's actually contrary. He came in and he's like, train 45 minutes a day, make it extremely intense, and you'll get this exact same amount of output, right?
Crazy.
So what about you? I have the feeling like you're locked in.
But the thing is, I have to be locked in so I can get to levels like you're at and surpass you. You know what I'm saying?
Fair, of course.
You know, it's only right? But right now, it's more of definitely wake up before 7 a.m. That's because of my body clock, though. Like, I went to like a grammar school, and it was like an hour away or like an hour and a half away from where I lived in. So I had to wake up at like quite early all the time, anyways. Now, bro, I'll be honest, I could go to bed like 2 a.m. and I'd still wake up early. So wake up pretty early, and now I've been discovering the power of deep work. I think it's essential when you're building and like you're really trying to get things done. Morning routine, you know, pray, read the Bible, that type of stuff. Do a good amount of deep work to like maybe midday around there, and then from that point onwards, then I can take any calls. The only calls, I think, to be honest, the only calls I take early are like calls with you or something.
Yeah, the time zone difference.
9, 10 a.m. And yeah, then from there, like maybe midday to like 4, take calls. Yeah. And then from that point onwards, you're kind of like chilling a bit more. I try to work out every day, but I'll be honest, it doesn't happen. Like, because I don't want to just hit the gym. Maybe I'll play paddle with my friends, do some Muay Thai, do some like basketball or something, but I try, but sometimes just like work gets in the way, you know?
Yeah, I find that a lot of people, specifically with work, they take kind of like a marathon sort of approach where they're like, okay, I'm going to do this amount of work every day, and it's like long sessions. I kind of work in extremes. So like when I'm like, even here in Budapest, I haven't been like, for the past, like, for example, the first week I got here, I didn't really work at all. I took the essential calls. Yeah. But when I think after a week, I spent like 2 days locked inside of a room doing like really deep work. And I pulled an all-nighter. It was like 2 days straight. So I kind of take the approach of like, I'm going to do sprints. Yeah. And it's kind of like the lion approach. Yeah. You're either resting or you're hunting, right?
You're not running. You're like,
yeah, exactly. And if you can like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you can train like that as well in sprints, that's going to relate to you making more money in shorter periods of time with business, right?
It's so actually very interesting.
It's all correlated, right? So yeah, I even Naval Ravikant.
What a guy.
You know him?
Yeah, he's a G.
He talks about this a lot as well.
Read his tweets.
Yeah, he has a lot of golden nuggets, but that's exactly what he talks about as well. Sprints. Like, instead of, I'm going to play the long game and I'm going to do this amount of work every single day, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, let's do small sprints and then let's relax. Like, I'll work for 2 days straight and then like take a couple days off. Yeah. And I know Mr. Beast talked about this as well, right? He's like, I would work for 1 week straight, and then he would take like 2 days off and just like rest when he was starting his YouTube.
And he's incredible. I mean, he's the content king, arguably the YouTube king, so I think he's done really well. Yeah. I want to ask you then maybe 2 more questions. Yep. Number 1. How do you stay ahead of the curve in terms of knowledge consumption? Are you a big reader, podcast guy, Audible guy? And who are your, I don't want to say idols, I want to say inspirations? Who do you value high in the space?
Okay, so I value guys that don't have a big audience
Why?
because if someone has a big audience, then everyone else is
Consuming
yeah.
it.
So you're indirectly, or sorry, directly staying behind the curve if you're consuming what everyone else is consuming.
Makes sense.
Period. Okay, so information is so available. You have to find unique information that no one knows about, and sourcing that is incredibly difficult.
For sure.
Right. So I read quite a bit. I used to read a little bit more, but right now it's mainly podcasts and audiobooks.
Okay.
Podcasts and audiobooks.
And
Yeah.
are we saying one book a week, or one a month? Or one?
Yeah, probably around. I don't really have a specific like, oh, I read one book a month specifically. It's like maybe I'll read like 2 books in a week, and then I won't read for like 3 months.
Yeah, that's understandable.
You know what I
That
mean?
makes sense. Yeah, I completely get that. I kind of operate the same way because I want to get to level. Like I think Belmar speaks about, like he does like 2 books a week, and
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes that's actually not sustainable. Number 2, I think he's very much in the point where he's the thinker. Like I think we were speaking about this earlier. I was speaking about this with Daniel, and the highest level guys get paid to think. They don't get paid to do a sales call or do this thing or implement this thing. They're thinking. They're like, okay, boom, you do it. Now do it, right? So I guess Belmar, he just needs more and more unique insights, which is why he's going back to the archives and the books and whatnot. But I think at the initial level, you don't want to do this mental masturbation of reading a book a week and thinking you're making progress, but you're not executing anything or implementing with speed, you know?
Of course.
I think
Of course.
that's
Yeah.
very, very important.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like I used to read and I used to think, okay, reading, yes, it's good, but like I do value the action more.
Yeah, for
Right,
sure.
of course. Right. It's still I'm not gonna shit talk reading because I think reading is very important.
That's incredible.
But yeah, you like the action is way more valuable. I was always entrepreneurial as well, but I used to like read and say, okay, I'm doing entrepreneur work, and I'm gonna go read like Rich Dad Poor Dad. Great book, by the way. I love the
is.
book.
I
It
think
changed
it's
my entire mindset.
Same.
But like, that's not really working,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
100%.
So you're better off taking action and just failing and then learning from that, in my opinion. But and then once you get into a more leveraged system, you do need unique insights where books or other information definitely comes into play. 100%. Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you? Do you read quite often or not really?
I try to, and recently I've been a bit more on it. I mean, I started reality transurfing, but that's
okay.
a deep book. Bro.
Yeah.
That's a Bible. That's 800 pages, you know? So
Strictly manifestation.
yeah, so I got to like second or third chapter and I was like, okay, look, it's great, but I need to read like a smaller book around a similar topic. And then obviously I met Russell and he was like, yeah, read Outwitting the Devil. And I'm at the end of that. I'm maybe an hour left in the audiobook. Incredibly impactful. I think I've read a good amount of books in my time, and I think my top 3 books I'd say are Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I think that's
Banger.
an incredible book. I think that's amazing. Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. That just made it very clear, like, the fast lane you should be driving on in terms of the entrepreneurial fast lane and how to leverage things. Another book. I'm going to say those 2 for now. There's another one I'm forgetting, but I think those 2.
What about one of these? .com secrets, expert secrets?
They were good. They gave me knowledge on funnels and stuff. I got
Very
my,
commoditized though.
Yeah,
very
I got my
commoditized.
expert secret signed by Russell, so it was a
Okay,
good experience, you know. But
Fair enough.
yeah, like I have another book and I know that I'm forgetting, but
you also have to think with information, like, this is the really weird part, and that I always think about as well. It's like, if you're consuming someone's information,
yeah,
for example, Russell Brunson,
Yeah.
he's giving away value, but he's giving away that value because he wants you to buy ClickFunnels,
yes,
right?
So
So
propaganda.
most authors who, like, we're looking at a bookshelf for you guys watching.
yeah,
Most authors, let's say nowadays, are writing a book with a clear incentive,
for sure.
right? No one's like, oh, I'm already a billionaire, for example. I have all this knowledge. I'm just gonna write a book because I feel like it. No one does that anymore. And then if you translate that to YouTube, for example, or podcasts, why do people start podcasts nowadays? Why do people post on YouTube? Business, right? So they're giving away value to make money, right? So I try to remove myself from consuming information that sometimes doesn't have a clear, like, Okay, CTA, for example. Like old books are really good as well. Biographies are really good as well. Like just someone's life.
Yep.
The Sam Walton biography.
And learning from that, I guess, yeah.
Exactly. Using that. Because there's paradigms within the way people speak to push you in the direction of their mechanism. Right? Which is not a bad thing. I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right? I do the exact same thing. Right? But I try to remove myself from that as much as I can. Yeah.
Okay, and my final question, what are your top 3 books that you've read that changed your life in a sense?
The Bible. You forgot that one.
That's horrible.
The Bible.
Oh, that's horrible, bro. Oh, my goodness. That's
The
crazy.
Quran? No, I'm
Wait, are you a big fan of, like, do you...
And the Torah. No.
Fair play, that's crazy.
No. I would say the Bible. I haven't read the entire Bible. That's crazy, but I've read a large portion of it. I would say 7 Habits, Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I would say actually, probably The Creature from Jekyll Island. I don't know if you've heard of that book before.
I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
Very good book.
Give us a synopsis, like what's it about?
It's pretty much just about how the Federal Reserve prints money, right? So like everyone thinks,
Easing.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, how does money? Do you know how the Federal Reserve works?
Yeah,
exactly.
Learned it in economics class.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, where does money come from? Oh, the government prints it. It's not true, right? It's actually a private company that prints the money and then sells that money via bonds and stuff like that back to the government, right? So,
Dark.
yeah, that book right there, Lords of Easy Money. It's a very similar thesis to Creature from Jekyll Island as well. I read that as well. So very interesting shit. But you just learn a little bit about how money is made. Because everyone's like, oh, I'm working hard for money. I want to make more money. But it's like, okay, what is money? It's like, what is this fucking piece of paper? Right? Everyone like 2,000 years ago, I'm going to give you a bowl. You're going to give me some gold. Right? Now it's like, now it's even worse. Yeah. You have fucking pixels on a screen that dictate your emotions. Oh, I didn't make $50K this month. It's like, what? Where is that? It's like, it's pixels on a screen. Why are you working? Why are we working? Right? Really. It's crazy. So yeah, I think that was a very excellent conversation. Do you have any other questions about YouTube, or do you want to talk about quickly about the in-person stuff as well? In-person versus online? We can talk about that.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'll frame the conversation. We were speaking about the fact that if someone wants to, let's say, lose weight, get in shape, they actually have multiple people they can go to. They can go to a pharmaceutical company, a supplement company. They can go to an online fitness coach, and they can go to an in-person personal trainer. And I was under the impression that an online fitness coach actually is one of the best or better solutions. But I guess if you sell it enough, like you kind of hypnotize yourself to think it's best. Ashton was saying that the most scalable thing is actually for online fitness coaches to open their own gyms and then get the thing. But like, tell me about that. Talk to me about like why you think that is the case and whatnot, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely more scalable in person, and it's easier to make more money than online fitness coaching. So what I'm going to be doing, maybe over the next, this is more of, I guess, a long-term plan, but the clients that I have that actually have capital, they're making money, maybe they have over 6 figures in the bank sort of thing, liquid, taking those online fitness coaches and bringing them in person, right? Because yes, there are advantages to being online, 110%, freedom, you can go wherever you want, you can kind of work from, like, you know, we're in Budapest, we're still working technically, right? But in terms of cash flow and making more money off the bat, in person smashes. It's easy, like, I don't think you understand, when you run ads for a local gym and you set that 7-mile radius around the gym, you get leads. Like, I swear, it's crazy. You get leads. You call the lead. Hey, this is Ashton with XYZ Gym. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was just looking at a fitness program. Like, no, like, oh, this is a guy from Saudi Arabia sort of thing. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I want to lose weight. I'm ready. I want to invest. Blah, blah. And it's like, you're not even selling. It's actually crazy, right? That's insane. And then once you get them in, and then you actually bring them through a full sales conversation,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, our process is $3,000. Okay. Like, it's crazy. One of my clients, one of my larger clients, I have his testimonial on my YouTube.
Like,
The black guy.
The transformation
Paul
thing?
Anthony.
Yeah.
He does crazy numbers. He does 6 figures a month and over 150, 200K in LTV per month.
Wow.
He sells 7K fitness packages.
In person.
He's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
Right? And he gets these white moms that come in with their fucking Chanel bags. And, I want to tone up, whatever that means. And it's just like, from ads, super, like the ROAS is like 20, 30.
And the thing is, right, they come in with the intention of getting a fitness program or getting just a gym membership.
They come in with the intention of getting help. Like, yeah, they want a mechanism to lose weight. And obviously you explain that to them. Yeah, so we pretty much have a few different options. Come in, we'll see if you're a good fit. We'll see if we can even help you in the first place. Little NEPQ, whatever. Get them in, and then little NEPQ, and then bingo bango, you sell them. So I'm going to be doing that. And that's something that you should even potentially just look into.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I used to work with gyms.
Yeah.
And I still have gym clients.
Yeah.
And the ads for local always crush way harder. There's less competition. Like, think about how many other gyms are in the vicinity of like a local gym, maybe like 5, 6. How many other online fitness coaches are there?
So many.
In the world.
So many, bro. It's
Right.
crazy.
Thousands.
Okay, and then this is the thing, right? You said that guy does 6 figures from the in-person coaching. Does he also have online coaching packages, or?
He does, yes.
Okay.
He does.
Okay.
He pushes a decent amount through that, but he makes most of his money through in person.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And what would you say, just from helping so many gyms, fitness coaches, in person, online, is the key 3 indicators you need to have to open and scale a good gym?
Open and scale a good gym. I wouldn't say specifically you need like a lot of equipment or you have to invest in like the top quality stuff or you need a bunch of trainers. Even Alex Hormozy, when he was doing gym turnarounds, he would have really shitty gyms that like with like a little barbell rack, some dumbbells, basically nothing. And he would just push people in. So for gyms, the biggest key indicators are having a good acquisition system and just framing yourself as not being a commoditized service that sells a $20 a month sort of thing.
It needs to have an aura behind it, an offer behind it, a specific like ICP of people that attend. For example, it could be, this gym is for like moms and who do that, blah, blah, blah. Or this gym is for bodybuilders, or this gym is for calisthenics guys. Do you mean that, or do you mean something else?
Yeah, precisely. Like you can, you have to use the offers and the stuff that we get from this So think about this for a second. The reason why someone has a Grand Slam offer, the reason why we have these I help people and these very niched offers is because it's so competitive, the online market.
For sure.
Right? So that's the only way we leverage ourselves against the competition. Okay? But in an in-person market, it's less competitive.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to specifically do those to get success. But if you cross-pollinate and you take these strategies from a competitive market, bring it into a non-competitive market, you've pretty much just opened up a new market. In person, using these ultra-competitive things that we use because we have to use them in order to make money. Okay? You're not just gonna be an online fitness coach that I'm just a fitness, I help you with whatever. Here's Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work, right? So if you can cross-pollinate that to in-person, like, oh my gosh, that's how my clients make money. That's how my clients make money. It's yeah.
And you said something that's key is about having a good acquisition process.
Yeah.
What is the best acquisition process in your personal opinion for gyms?
Best acquisition process for gyms, definitely running ads, but running ads for using the same tactics for online competitive, the free thing that I was telling you about. So you run an ad for a free 6-week challenge or a free 8-week challenge, for example.
Yeah.
People come in, you say, hey, it's free, but you have to give a deposit in order to win your money back. If you lose X amount of weight, you call them halfway through, you do the call, hey, If you want to continue your challenge, trying to get your money back, you can do that, or we can take that money and translate that into a longer term membership. 99% of people will take the out because they're already invested, they've met friends, they like the place, they're already seeing some progress, they're happy. Okay, yeah, I want to stay here long term. And it's very easy to sell as well. Think about this. If you're like, oh, well, I want my money back, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to continue long term. Well, let me ask you a question. Like let me ask you a question. You've already lost some weight. You've met a couple friends. Is this not something you want to do long term?
Crazy.
Is fitness something that's kind of more of like I just want to lose some weight and then maybe gain some weight after, right? It's very easy to sell.
Yeah,
I've sold them firsthand before, right? So so this is something, maybe we can talk about, because I do want to look into that as well in terms of actually starting a separate entity where instead of, I'm going to help you go online as an in-person, what everyone's fucking doing, it's so commoditized. Like, think about an ad. Think about an ad like this. You're a gym owner. You're used to seeing, hey, I'm going to take you online, or you're in fitness, whatever, just in general. Oh, here's how to go online. Imagine if you ran an ad and you saw, hey, I will take you in person. Holy shit, paradigm shift, coming up, paradigm shift, right? And then here's why, proof.
That's insane.
Right? Imagine just an ad from that. That would print, right?
It's just about finding the ICP of online fitness coaches who make enough and have enough liquid capital to go in person.
And you can sell that as like maybe this is too much sauce, but
don't worry.
Maybe this is too much sauce, but you can sell that because these people have money. You're going to screen for them to have money. So you're going to say, hey, listen, I can help you find a location, hire trainers, do X, Y, and Z,
Like
and you can manage.
You can sell this for,
bro. Exactly. You can manage everything, and that could translate potentially into real estate as well if you own the gyms. I'm just saying, these are things that I've been thinking about as well.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone's like, I'm gonna help online fitness coaches. Yeah, it's good, but like, how can we think outside the box a little bit, right?
Okay, then. What would you say is the rough cost of opening up a gym?
You're gonna need at least 50 to 70K.
Rent for X amount of months, equipment.
Yeah, you're gonna need some money in the backlog for sure.
50 to 70K.
50 to 70. Let's say rent on average is about 5 to 7 grand a month.
Okay.
Equipment, trainers, all that stuff. You're probably gonna be burning about 10 to 12K a month overhead.
Damn.
But it's very easy to outsell.
What is the main money maker or revenue bringer for gyms? What percentage would you say is the subscriptions? What percentage would you say is the personal fitness coaching packages? And is there any other revenue, maybe like sell supplements and things like that?
So it matters what kind of gyms you're talking about. Like an LA Fitness or like a big box gym, they're just pushing memberships, of course. But most gyms will make their money from personal training. 100% of the time, personal training. But they all frame personal training as being a commoditized service.
So bad. £50 an hour.
Yeah.
For a block of sessions.
Yeah.
They don't know how to sell it.
And they're not even, there's no transformation. It's just like, here are your sessions.
Yeah, horrible.
Not, hey, I'm going to, for 6 months, end date, it's going to be this much, and you're going to reach this goal.
It's crazy. And also, like, for example, in one of my clients' businesses, we had a guy who came from Equinox.
Yeah.
So he was in the Equinox fitness coaching program. He was like, bro, it was rubbish. They didn't listen to my allergies. They didn't really listen to me as a person. I couldn't really reschedule very easily, and they're just still charging me. And there were so many problems. And Equinox is like the top guys, you know. For me, like my friend, there's a UK gym called David Lloyd, which is like very high level as well. And he said like when he joined, they gave you like free fitness, 2 free programs, like 2 free hours of personal training. He said the guy just wasn't good. Like he wasn't good, and it's just like you're leaving money on the table by not focusing on the personal training aspect of it. But if they treated it how like fitness coaches treat their sales calls and sales assets, sales not to process this and that.
Oh my gosh.
And then even the service delivery, bro, like we were talking about, what could you actually give them in terms of physical assets? Imagine you say, okay, you do your blood test and then we check your testosterone and then you give them supplements specifically based on their blood test and like hormone profile and stuff. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's game over. It's game over because gyms are it's not competitive at all, like I said, because it's local biz. So you're competing locally. So you can get by doing that shit and still make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But on average, gym owners don't make any money. They pay their trainers more than they pay themselves. I was on a call with this gym owner like 6 months ago. I was on a call with her. I'm like, how much money do you make? She's like, oh, we're doing about $70K a month. I'm like, wow, that's excellent. $70K a month.
That's rev, right?
Yeah. I'm like, how much are you keeping? She's like, oh, $2K a month. Imagine $70K going
in and out. Oh, that's
and
painful.
then
Bro.
68. Oh yeah. So I'm just saying, there's a fucking. If you're watching this and you've made it to the end of this podcast, and you're a online fitness coach and you have money, maybe shoot me a DM or maybe shoot this guy a DM, and we'll help you out potentially. Maybe I'll say no. Maybe I'll say yes. I don't really know. This is something that maybe we're
got a scheme.
We got to scheme a little bit. Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Exactly. But yeah, do you have any other questions for me, or do you want to say any final remarks?
No, I mean, it's been a great conversation.
Great conversation.
I very much enjoyed it. All praise to Jesus Christ, and that's it, bro. That's it.
Hallelujah. There we go. Thanks for watching. Peace.